Hello, my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Spiritually Boujee Astrology, and we are going to take a look at the astrological transits of January 13th to January 19th. Now, quick little things right before we get started. First things first, we are 2 weeks away from my first conference that you guys can come out and meet me in person. Again, I'm going to be in Oklahoma City on January 26th. That is exactly 2 Sundays away from the time that I am recording this. And you can meet me at the Reed Conference Center. There is a spiritual event all weekend, but I will only be there on Sunday. I will only be there on January 26th. So you can definitely come out and meet me. I have added an events calendar to the website, and I am in negotiations right now with two more events that are going to happen in the first quarter. One would be in February, and if I do the February one, it's most likely going to be in Tulsa. And the other one that I'm looking at is in Arkansas, and that one's actually looking more towards the end of March during all the fun hot-headed energy season. Okay, moving along. For the people that requested additional readings on the website, I got a couple different updates on that. For the person that asked for gift certificates, that has now been added, but I'm letting everybody know that you can actually go purchase specific readings for people for their birthday. Give me about 24 to 48 hours to get back to the computer to actually put that all together. I do not have any type of like generation system for that. That's my gift certificates that I created. And I'm the one that takes care of all of the log, and all of them are specifically numbered to the person that is getting it. So it's not just some like generic thing that the computer's putting together. Two, for the people that have been requesting zodiacal releasing and or birth time rectification. Yes, I do these. However, I don't have verbiage put together to actually add them as individual readings right now. So for people that want stuff like that, you would be looking at the one-on-one session. So I'm actually going to show the website again just for just a quick second. Get everybody on board with this. So here we go. Astrological consultations. You can do personalized horoscopes. Here's the gift certificates, birthday readings, natal chart readings, synastry readings, and then this one-on-one coaching session. This is the one that I'm talking about. If you are wanting something in particular that's not just immediately listed, pick that one right there when you are scheduling your sessions. The one-on-one sessions are anything and everything about whatever you need to go over, whatever I'm energetically picking up on your energy, whenever I'm linking into you intuitively. And of course, the things that I start to see in the astrology based off of the transits and of course, your individual chart. So again, if you're wanting some of those more finite, niche, advanced level types of readings, I do them. They're just going to be one of right now, you'd be picking the one-on-one session until I come up with like the right kind of verbiage and the right type of concept of what I want to do with that. So few people actually know what zodiacal releasing is, that I don't know how I want to approach that full course. The people that I work with now, they're going through like level 2 and level 3 culmination years or peak periods or loosing of the bonds. And we meet on a very regular basis to look at the dates as to how it's going to be impacting them. And then we look at the transits on top of that. So zodiacal releasing is a little bit more, and honestly, it would be a bundle package versus just one session, just to be clear. And I haven't put together a concept for bundle packages yet. I haven't. I will. It took me a while to get that website up. As you guys know, I spent a good amount of time on it. And now it's just kind of getting us to the right place with, where we're going next. Anyways. Oh, last week was not meant to be eventful, but I did say each day of the week would be building up into something. We would have new things while also having parts of the past creep back up. New situations, old triggers, old wounds, new paths, new beginnings, new ideas, but recognizing previous situations, previous work does not fit. The old way of doing things isn't quite jiving into the new. And a lot of that vibration speaks to what was going on between Mars returning into Cancer and hitting those first little points. And the first one being the trine with Neptune. And I got to admit, over the weekend, once Mars started to get into that less than 2-degree angle, hitting that trine to Neptune, it felt like time was slowing down. We were getting things done faster than we needed to. The sense of time was off. Is that the last time they're going outside? Talking about the dogs. My mom was bringing up the dogs. I was like, no, it's only like 9 o'clock. We'll go back out in a few more hours. She's like, it feels like midnight. I know. It feels way later than it should be, than it is right now. And there's just something a little bit off, a little bit clouded. There's some confusion. There's some things just not vibing, not checking, not connecting. And there are different ways that can manifest into your personal life based off of the transits. Now, the exact trine between Mars and Neptune actually went exact on Sunday, January 12th, the day that I'm recording this. It has not gone exact quite yet. But as soon as the moon went into Cancer, we were in full moon vibration. I said that in last week's podcast. And I will tell you, as soon as the moon went into Cancer last night, my DMs were like bing, 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 because things were happening. And a lot of the things that were starting to happen over the course of Saturday night, all day on Sunday, and into Monday, were things that were starting to trigger emotional responses. And the reason that is because we are building up to a full moon in Cancer, which is how we start this week. A full moon in Cancer, loosely conjunct Mars and his retrograde. Therefore, also loosely in the trine to Neptune, while also being in an exact sextile to Uranus. The moon and Uranus are in a sextile. The sun and Uranus are actually in a trine. There's unexpected things in the vibration, literally at the start of the week. Now, some people will just have, like, again, situations from the past, ideas from the past, people from the past, topics from the past coming back around, but now having a different response. Oh, I don't even feel the way that I used to feel when I made that decision before. Oh, when I agreed to do this last year, I thought I was going to be in a much better place, a much different place. So much has happened because it has. So much has happened. And now we find ourselves in a different place. There's a newness while also still dealing with the old. Old frustrations, old wounds, old disruptions, old topics that for many people, as we go into the start of this week, are going to instigate levels of disconnect, emotional disconnect. And that's very, very telling given the way the whole week's vibration is going to go. So I want to be absolutely clear about this next part. Some of what happened over the weekend, most especially on Sunday, January 12th, is directly impacting the flow of this week. In addition to the flow of this week, there will be two sets of things that speak to emotional disruption, discourse, and disconnection. The first of those being, it is a full moon in Cancer conjunct a Mars retrograde. But the second, which will be continuing to build after the full moon is done, is the full opposition to Mars and the sun, because that also happens this week. And the two vibrations feel very, very connected. Now, if you have been going through situations, and again, having old wounds and old triggers brought back up, we can be making active decisions this week, reactive like decisions this week to disconnect from certain people. And it can happen over the course of any time this week based off of human effect. But astrologically speaking, it's either going to be with the full moon or the full-on Sun-Mars opposition. Again, both are happening this week. But they're not the only two players in the sky. And the other thing that we have to pay attention to is Venus. Now, Venus is going to go through a square to Jupiter this week. In addition to that, she will also make her first of 3 conjunctions to Saturn. Now, Venus is not in shadow yet. She's not. But altogether, based off of what's going to happen in the months ahead, there is something very particular about that Venus-Saturn conjunction that will happen this week that sets the stage. It sets wheels in motion. We will be coming to terms with something. We will be getting judged by something, by someone. We will be making responsible decisions, accepting certain levels of responsibility, passing on certain levels of responsibility that will have a ripple effect to how the rest of spring is going to go. Now, as a whole, the depth and the impact of this week is going to vary for everyone. For some people, it's going to be a few little hiccups, a few little emotional disruptions, and no big deal. But for other people that are full on aware that we are in an obstacle course, there's going to be some things that trip us up this week. And I've said it before. This timeline's vibration, January going into February, feels like one of 2 obstacles, where November, December felt like one clear obstacle for everybody. And it was the monkey bars. Now it feels like one of 2 things. We were either in a potato sack race trying to pick up on everything and carry it forward, knowing that there's no clear path towards the ending. You're just doing the best that you can, or you're stuck in a 3-legged race with someone you did not know and you did not anticipate. If you are stuck in a race with someone that you did not know, if you are suddenly connected to people that you're not normally connected with, you can be blindsided this week. They can be blindsided by your past actions, or you can be blindsided by theirs coming back around, coming back to the surface. New things underway, new decisions being made, new challenges being conquered. The past is still the past. And some of us are going to be undoing, revising, revamping certain things that we previously agreed to and we previously did. But the idea is to streamline and or take something up to the next level, to boost confidence, to potentially make something easier. Venus is in Pisces. She wants things to be easier. But for some people, this week will not be easy. And because we thought everything would just go smoothly and be easy, the frustrations, the guidance, the judgment will instigate a different level of response. Some will be hurt and some will be wounded. They're going to go in the corner and you're going to cry a little bit. Hi, I'm a Pisces moon. Every once in a while, you got to go to your hole and cry for a little bit. Turn on the music and do what you need to do. Others will see it as more of a challenge. If something's not going to be easy, I'm going to find a way to make it easier, and therefore rising to an occasion. But there are things that are sliding into place this week. Commitments that are being understood, taken on, addressed. A knowledge and a voicing of certain things coming to light and coming to the surface this week. And there will be whole sets of challenges that we did not anticipate. We had figured the past is the past. swept it under the rug, tossed it in the closet, threw it in the recycling bin, threw it out for donation. But then something happens and it magically reappears. It comes back to light. It comes back to the surface. And depending on the timeline of whenever previous decisions were made, for some people, it's going to go back to last spring. For other people, it's going back to last summer. For even more, it's going back to last fall. And it really comes down to which energy is impacting you more. Is it Pluto? Haven't had to talk about him a whole lot. Is it Saturn? Good old daddy Saturn. Is it Neptune? Is it Jupiter? Is it Uranus? Is it Mars? The thing about all of those planets is they are in an area of the sky where they have already been. They've been here before. Saturn has been at 15 degrees of Pisces 3 times now. This is the 3rd round. Jupiter is starting to slow down and he's starting to station. And over the course of the next month, he will be frozen in one area of the sky. And I'm saying next month, I mean like mid-January to mid-February, turning things around because he's going to go direct at the beginning of February. Uranus is also stationing to end his retrograde at the end of this month. Pluto is in an area of the sky where he's been multiple times. Mars was in Cancer at these late degrees of Cancer through October. There's so much of the vibration that speaks to taking on the new challenges, leveling something up, picking up on everything that we need to carry forward, but knowing we're carrying it forward with new knowledge, new ideas, a new vibration within new people, new partnerships. Some are seeking partnerships and they're looking at the potential of that. This is not the vibration to be looking for partnership. I've said it before. I've been saying this since the beginning of October. This is not good energy for new relationships for the majority of people. Now, if your natal Mars is in retrograde, that's a different story because you were in a different pattern. But if your natal Mars is not a retrograde Mars and it's not a stationing Mars, that means it's either right after a retrograde ended or right before a retrograde started. This vibration is not necessarily good for you. It's not. A lot of people don't like to hear that. You guys want sunshine and rainbows. I'm not the reader for that. I'm going to tell you the real stuff. The real stuff is human. We're all human. So we have to pay attention to how the human effect blends with this vibration and blends with this energy. And some of the actions and the reactions to this week will not be easily measured in a multitude of different ways. Let's get into the week. Let's get into Monday. Let's get into this messiness. All right. I got this January 13th, 1:30 a.m. Central Standard Time on the screen. And the reason I have it at this time is I got 2 things going on simultaneously. One, Saturn, 15 degrees, 33 minutes, is in that exact trine to the moon at 15 degrees, 33 minutes of Cancer. You can see this is exact. But remember, I said there's 2 things going on, not just the one. So what is the other vibration? We have the sun, 23 degrees, 21 minutes of Capricorn, entering its exact trine to Uranus. This actually goes exact between 2:01 and 2:24 a.m. So I'm about 30 minutes before it starts, but it's still here. Now, Saturn, this is the rules. This is the responsibility. This is what's necessary to care. And I'm saying what's necessary to care because that is Saturn in a trine with the moon. That moon is building into a full moon. So we can be getting something from an elder. We can be pushing certain responsibilities, delegating in a certain amount of ways. And some parts of this delegation can be surprising. It can be unexpected, given that the fact that the sun in Saturn's sign is hitting that trine to Uranus. Now, whenever it comes to Monday, does not matter the time of day, this sun is going to be in the trine with Uranus all day long. The full moon will also be aspecting the Uranus. This is an emotional, expect the unexpected day. Unexpected vibrations, unexpected changes, unexpected turnarounds. For a lot of people, whatever develops between Sunday and Monday has a new vibration while also bringing back some of the old situations, depending on the topics at hand. Be expecting the unexpected. Expect surprises. That's the better way to say that. Okay. Now, again, Sun's trine to Uranus, Saturn's trine to the moon. These two are the most exact between 12:30 and 2:30 a.m. That's whenever we're going to feel them. Immediately following that, Uranus is going to sextile the moon. So I'm going to bump this to 3:30. Here's Uranus. Wait. Oh, no, sorry. That's not what I was meaning. I was like, that's not right. So sorry. The next thing that's going to happen is between 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. I totally screwed up my notes on this one. That's why I did that. And that is going to be when Chiron goes into a square with the moon. So you can see this here at 7:30 a.m. Chiron is at 19 degrees, 6 minutes of Aries. The moon is currently at 18 degrees, 57 minutes. So it's not quite exact at this moment. We're probably about 15, 20 minutes from it being exact on the square. But Chiron's energy being newly direct is how we're going to fix something, how we handle the wound, how we overcome the wound. For some people, how we address the wound. Again, this is an emotional full moon. There'll be a lot of emotional responses, boiling point type of energies. And some people need to be aware of the wounds. For some people, it's the wound they've caused. For other people, it is how we fixed a past wound and how it's helping us now by overcoming parts of the past. And there can be energies that speak to exactly that. Old wounds, new wounds, the care, how we heal, and how we overcome. Okay, moving this along. Now we're going to get to the afternoon. This is where I screwed it up. I apologize. We're going to get this to about 4:30 in the afternoon because this is going to encompass both things. So first things first, between 2:30 and 4:30 p.m., that is when Uranus, 23 degrees, 23 minutes, is going to go through a trine with the moon. So we're just past it right now at 4:30 because the moon is at 24 degrees, 1 minute. But the reason I wanted to go ahead and put it at 4:30 is because this is right after the full moon goes exact. So the sun and the opposition to the moon is going to be felt the most exact between 3:30 and 5:30. The full moon will be exact at 4:27 p.m. Central Standard Time, so my time. This again, unexpected news, unexpected conversations, blasts from the past situations, old topics coming back around, old situations coming back around, while also having recognition to the new. Now, again, this full moon is very loosely in a conjunction to Mars. And as we continue through the day, there will be an actual conjunction to Mars. Mars is still in that trine to Neptune. You can see that here. And that will also still play into the evening's effects. So we are not done at 4:30 in the afternoon. There's crap going on. And there are layers to the mix. There are layers to this energy. And the people that are going to be feeling this the most are going to be the mutable signs and the cardinal signs. So mutable is Gemini, Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius rising. Cardinal signs is going to be, of course, Cancer. It's a full moon in Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra risings. You guys are going to feel this the most. If you have natal placements in these late degrees of Pisces or the late degrees of Cancer. And I would even say the late degrees of Scorpio, just because of those aspects. You're going to be feeling this in some way. It's going to impact you in some way as an individual, regardless of your rising sign. If you have placements in these areas, you're feeling this vibration. Oh, I'm not going to do like a full breakdown, of course, of the full moon. I will do that in a separate episode, but I'm reminding everybody like we're all going to feel this because the amount of emotional purge, emotional disruption, having old insecurities reopened. That's what it feels like for a lot of people. New situations, but old vibration, old wounds. And whatever starts to get stirred up over the course of Sunday, the 12th, going into Monday, the 13th, where we're at right now, for a lot of people, it is going to make us face some level of disconnect throughout the week at some point. Some of it will be immediate. Some of it is going to take a few days. So let's be clear. Bumping this a few more hours. I'm going to bump this to, let's see, 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That'll hit both of them. So I got two things going on. Between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m., that is when the moon is going to hit its exact conjunction to Mars. So for those that are doing audio only, I've got right now at 10:30. Mars is at 26 degrees, 58 minutes retrograde. The moon is at 27:22. You can see this on the screen for those that are watching the visual. And simultaneously, as soon as the moon hits that conjunction to Mars, it is also entering the trine to Neptune. That is felt the most exact between 10 p.m. and midnight. And that's why I put this at 10:30, because it encompasses both. When the moon hits that conjunction to Mars, and again, this will be the first conjunction to Mars while Mars is retrograde, there will be multiple conjunctions to Mars. Emotional disruption, tension, arguments, fighting, frustrations. If you are a Cancer rising, this can literally impact you on a personal level, like in your body, that type of thing. And given the element of Neptune, it can be based off of things in your immune system if it's happening to your body. For other people, it can be based off of like lies, fraud, deception, Neptune. But for other people, it's going to be belief, destiny, the hope to turn something higher, to take something up a notch. But we're doing it from a point of action where we've never been before. Old idea, potentially, but an action we've never done before. And again, for some people, whatever is coming through when the moon enters this can actually be the next round, the next level of something that happened over the weekend, most specifically on Sunday. But for some people, it could have been Saturday or Sunday, just to be clear. Hitting my hand on the desk. Moving along. All right. There's a lot of transits to Monday. There's a lot going on. You can see that right here. We're going to get into Tuesday. And what's interesting about Tuesday is the fact that there ain't a whole lot going on. At 3:13 a.m. Central Standard Time, the moon is going to go into Leo. So I put this to 3:30 a.m. You can see that here. As soon as the moon goes into Leo, it's going to hit an opposition to Mars. That is felt the most exact between 5 and 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Oh, seeing a trigger, facing our fears, having something brought to light, brought to the surface that triggers a power struggle or an overcoming power dynamic, something that needs to be overcome. The moon will hit that opposition to Pluto between 5 and 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Some people will not know the things that have been going on over the weekend, and they're going to wake up Tuesday morning to a phone call that, again, was very unexpected, that makes us aware of something where there has been trauma, where there has been frustration, where there has been a power struggle, where there has been abuse, where there has been a loss because of Pluto. I'm just going to say loss. Some people will have to face something immediately going into Tuesday morning. Now, When it comes to the rest of the day on Tuesday with the moon, there are no more lunar transits to Tuesday, which is very interesting. The moon going through Leo is going to be in a quincunx to the Pisces placements and Capricorn. When it comes to Tuesday feels like it's felt with a lot of indifference, of things not connecting, of people not seeing eye to eye, of people not knowing what the other side is doing, not knowing how they're handling something, not wanting to focus on someone else, but being more focused on an internal struggle based off of the lunar transits. But there's an interesting development as the lunar transits go on. So I'm going to bump this to 1:30 in the afternoon. And we have one other transit to Tuesday. But again, it's not in regards to the moon. It's just another transit that's going on. So it has something very hopeful, helpful, healing. And really, it should have a lot of luck element to it. But given what we just went through, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow as like a follow-up. So it's hard to describe it in any other way. What's going to happen between 1:31 and 1:55 p.m. is that Venus, which I'm showing her here at 11 degrees 58 minutes, is going to go through her exact square to Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is hosting Venus. Venus is said to be in her exaltation. Venus desires for things to be easy. And in some ways, given that Jupiter and Venus in their square, Jupiter's retrograde. Jupiter's actually moving towards Venus right now. Jupiter's now at that 11-degree mark where he's going to be stationing for the next month. So what can happen in this Venus-Jupiter square, in the indifference going on energetically, is coming to terms, offering lessons with how we heal, how we overcome, how we shift our fortune or shift our luck. Again, Jupiter is starting to station. The last time Jupiter was at 11 degrees of Gemini was back in July, specifically during that Mars-Uranus conjunction, that mid-July. And it is what started a whole lot of like turmoiled vibration through the second half of the year. Now Jupiter's back in an area of the sky where he's been before, hitting that square to Venus. There is care, there is nurturing, there is something that is helpful in this moment. And what you can find is that you're getting comforted from, again, someone that you did not anticipate. You can get benefit to something that also needs to get addressed, given the way the rest of the transits are going to go. This can be a hidden benefit that is not immediately announced to everyone, given the way the rest of the transits are. So I want you to be prepared for like those unexpected hidden benefits to Tuesday, especially in the mid-afternoon when Venus goes through that square to Jupiter. Now, she will not have multiple squares to Jupiter. I want to be clear about that. She has the one. And again, she's not in shadow yet, but she is building up to her conjunction to Saturn. So there can be something here about Tuesday that also impacts the end of the week, just to be clear about that. These are the only two transits going on Tuesday. After that, it's not that the moon is void. It's just that it's going through a quincunx. It's going through in conjunctions, not seeing eye to eye, not understanding, not being familiar with the other side. Many of us find ourselves in situations, especially if there's family dynamics going on, and you wind up at the hospital. It's like you're talking to people that you have care for, or you're supposed to care for, but you don't know them. They're like the distant cousin, that type of thing. So that is a big part of the vibration to Tuesday. Or you're talking to people that you're familiar with. It's like talking to your parents boss. You know the boss's name. You know that they're the boss. They know that you exist, but y'all ain't ever met before. That feels like a lot of the vibration of Tuesday. It's like having those sit downs with people that you're not familiar with. There's a lot of unfamiliar vibration to Tuesday, but now we're getting into Wednesday. The moon is going to be in Leo all day long. And the first thing that's going to happen on Wednesday happens right at midnight. So between midnight and 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 12:30 a.m. on the screen. Jupiter at 11 degrees, 57 minutes is going to now enter a sextile to the moon. So you can see that here. It's going to go exact closer to 1 a.m. my time, but you can see the aspect of it right here that it's building. Jupiter, again, it's the doctor, the guru, the teacher. Jupiter is starting to station for us to turn something around because Jupiter is starting to station. We need to address this. We need to work through this. We need to go through this process because with Jupiter being at the same point of the sky, 2 weeks retrograde, and then 2 weeks direct, there is a process involved. We are at the start of a turnaround process. And that again is going to push for certain things to be addressed. And this can be that type of energy where it lets us know even more. This is how we address it. This is how we're going to overcome it. This is how we fix something. This is how we're going to do X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, whatever that is. Okay. Oh, between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. So I'm going to bump the screen 2 more hours. Chiron is going to go through its, I wrote p.m. Oops. Ha. Between 2:30, 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. I'm screwing this up today, guys. I'm so sorry. Neptune. It is this Mars Neptune trine. I'm so sorry. All right. Here's the moon, 19 degrees, 15 minutes, going through its exact trine with Chiron. You can see that here, 19 degrees, 8 minutes. Considering right going into the buildup of that full moon, we had that square from Chiron to the moon. This feels like we go through a challenge earlier in the week that now has a better understanding, and it can feel more empowered because it's fire to fire, passion to passion about, again, responsibilities, who's going to care for what's necessary to fix a wound, to overcome a wound, to actually push for things to go differently. Okay. Now, there's a lot of energy to Wednesday, and I want to be clear about that. Chiron is in Mars' sign. And one of the things I kept bringing up throughout this whole process is like old wounds. Throughout the rest of the day, the sun is building up to its exact opposition to Mars. And it is going to go exact later in the evening, roughly between 8:25 and 8:47 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 8:30. Here is Mars, 26 degrees, 12 minutes. Here is the sun, 26 degrees, 12 minutes. It is exact. Now, while the sun is entering its exact opposition to Mars, we also have Uranus building in its square to the moon, and the moon is in the sun sign. So there's layers to what's going on here. The way you're acting, sun opposite Mars, the way you're acting is childish. It's not right. It's not the way that you should. The way that you're pushing for things to go isn't right. It isn't fair. And there's a way that this is meant to come through for a couple of people that has both pros and cons. One, it is the sun hitting the opposition to Mars, seeing how much someone has changed and how much they are emotionally disconnecting. And I'm going to put this in the pro category. Now, if you feel like somebody's emotionally detaching from you, you are not going to feel like this is a pro. You're not. But for a lot of people, especially masculine energy, this is a transformational energy. And this is recognizing the change, the transformation, recognizing that someone is overcoming, taking different acts. For some people, it will be the discovery of what I'm calling misaction. Somebody behaving in a way that would not normally be proper, would not normally be okay, and calling them on their shit. Honestly, for other people, when the sun, being in Saturn sign right now, hits that opposition to Mars, by holding someone else accountable, again, sun and Saturn sign, you see the raging flare of the inner child, of the ego, of the, you don't tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You don't talk to me this way. You don't act this way. And it is a potential blow up and flare up of emotional frustration. Given the fact that the moon is also going through that square with Uranus, that reaction can be very unexpected for a lot of people. And there can be a lot of tension and frustration. And there again can be these things about addressing the disconnect. For a lot of people, whatever happened in Monday's full moon is directly connected to Wednesday's sun opposition to Mars. And you can see that here. Shedding light on the frustration, on the disruption, on the fighting, holding someone accountable, pissing them off in the process, because that's going to happen. Seeing that raging flare of ego, but standing in your purpose and standing in your ground. Some people will be defensive. Others will be on the attack. This is not going to be a fun day for a lot of people. There will be a lot of attention in negative ways, say it that way. A lot of reaction in a ton of different ways. But also a lot of awareness, shedding light on the disruption. For a lot of people, you have been clouded while Mars has been retrograde in Cancer. You have not been aware of the full actions of another person. And this is where people can show the fragility of their ego. People can get caught doing things that they should not be doing. So if you do sneaky things, probably shouldn't do them this week. Don't get caught stealing. Don't get caught doing bad things. Don't get caught hurting people. You shouldn't hurt people anyways. But this is one of those weeks that I can say, don't get caught doing whatever stupidity you do. And be prepared to catch other people in not acting right, in the misacts. I don't know how else to say that. But just not behaving well. Okay. The sun's opposition to Mars, we are building to it all day long. It is the most exact in the evening time between 8:25 and 8:47. The exact square between Uranus and the moon is between 9:30 and 11:30. So it's not even exact whenever I'm showing this. So this vibration takes up the whole evening on Wednesday. And there will be some unexpected parts of the vibration, and I need people to be prepared for that. Okay, moving along. We're going to get into Thursday. We're going to get into the 16th. And here's the deal, dude. There ain't crap going on. Nothing. The moon is void. There are no more transits going on while the moon is in Leo. In the morning time, roughly around 10:46 a.m., so I'm bumping this to 11:30, the moon is going to go into Virgo. And even when the moon goes into Virgo, it's not doing anything. So whatever this is, whenever it comes to Thursday, it's like head down, mouth shut type of energy. Or if you're going to act this way, then I'm going to go change all of these things. Given that the moon is going into Virgo, which is Mercury's sign, we could be making sudden decisions based on how this week has gone to go change a bunch of things. Well, if you're going to be, acting that way, I'm just going to take you off the credit card. I'm going to change this billing. I'm going to go change this. Because something has happened, some of us are going to have to go change something. We're going to have to go file some documents. If mom or dad or grandpa is not in a good way and they can't go to work, you might have to go file forms, with their HR going, here's your documentation. Whether that's in-person filing or just PDF and email, whatever it is, there is a vibrational shift once we get into the second half of Thursday, specifically after, the moon goes into Virgo. But again, there are no direct transits. So Thursday is going to be very interesting. And a lot of people, Thursday is going to be a carryover from what all has happened and then how we are reacting to it, what we are changing. And a lot of the changes will have to do with the levels of responsibility. Who's in control of what? Who's in charge of what? Who's been carrying for what? And that's going to be really important. So we're going to bump this now to Friday. And in the overnight hours, we don't have a whole lot of transits going on. The first transits that are going to start to happen, are real early in the morning. So between 5:01 and 5:25 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 5:30. The sun is going to go through its exact sextile to Neptune. And I remember we started this week with Mars is trying to Neptune. And some of the actions that we were taking were just not clear. There was a fogginess. We're not aware of something on the other side. As this week has progressed, though, the fogginess, I'm just going to say fogginess for now, of Neptune is going to start to become more clear once the sun is more involved. And the sun hitting the sextile to Neptune has more of an understanding as to like what to do, how to handle something. And you can see the sun going through that sextile right here. This can set the vibration for the entire day. Some of the conversations, some of the changes that we are doing are going to be based off of what has recently been revealed, what has recently come to light, what has recently come out of the shadows, what has recently come to the surface, whether that is a health issue, whether that is the truth, whether that is a fraud issue, whatever it is. There is something about past situations that we were not clear about coming more to the surface and spending more light and putting more into focus. Okay, moving along. Between 8:30 and 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, so I'm going to just bump this to 9:30, Jupiter, 11 degrees, 48 minutes, is going to go through an exact square with the moon. The moon, again, is in Mercury sign. Jupiter's in Mercury sign. And given the fact that Mercury is actually going to have a small hand in how some of the weekend is going to go, some of the changes that are coming through, some of the newness, some of the alterations, you're going to be on this account, you're going to have this filing, you're going to do this thing, you're going to put this in order, whatever that is being spoken about here. And in a lot of ways, since Jupiter is going one way and the moon is going the other, it is literally talking about moving forward, so-and-so is not in charge of grandpa's account. I'm just going to blame it all on grandpa for the rest of this episode, just to be clear. Susie is not going to be in charge of grandpa's account anymore. It's going to be me and my mom. It's going to be me and my dad. It's going to be us. It's going to be someone else. There is going to be a part of the vibration of Friday morning of like moving forward. We're not doing it this way. It's not going to happen this way. And that comes through right around here. Now, between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m., the moon, again in Mercury sign, is going to go through an actual trine to Mercury. Mercury's in Saturn sign. He's wanting to be more productive. He's wanting to get something done responsibly. We are at the start of a productive, responsible transition. We are making some level of change, documented change, because we believe we can do something different. Keep this going. In the afternoon, I'm going to put these all together now. So between 2:30 and 5 p.m., the moon is going to go through an opposition to Venus. Between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m., the moon is also going to go through an opposition to Saturn. And what you see right here I've got it at 4:30 for those that are listening to audio only. The moon is at 15 degrees, 21 minutes, and it is going through both its opposition to Venus and Saturn right at this time. So I'm going to leave the screen here. Oh, both Venus and Saturn are coming into a conjunction, but their conjunction is not going to be exact until deeper into the weekend. The moon is hitting this opposition right after having the trine to Mercury. Mercury will also hit sextiles to Venus and Saturn throughout the weekend. This isn't big energy per se, but again, we're not recognizing the full trickle effect, so to speak, the ripple effect of what these decisions are going to lead to, because whatever we're starting to decide upon right here is going to directly impact the Venus retrograde. I'm very serious when I say that. Some people, whenever I say certain things, you're like, what? Are you, what? Yeah. Responsibility is shifting. The dynamic and process is shifting. We're doing things differently as we move forward. The old way is being disrupted. New ways are being created. We are full steam ahead and in the process of quite literally changing the process. When the moon goes to that opposition to Venus, this is like making a change based off the appearance, based off of the flavor, based off of the pleasure aspect of something, the way something sounds, the way something looks. We have to do something for that aesthetic, but also the comfort. Wouldn't it be easier if? And while Venus is in Pisces, that's a big topic. Wouldn't it be easier if? And when the moon hits that opposition to Venus, that feels like exactly that. It'll be easier when we do it this way. It'll be easier on mom. It'll be easier on dad. It'll be easier on me moving forward. When the moon hits the actual opposition to Saturn, that is the rules, that is the roles, that is responsibility, that is having to do with the elders, that is having to do with the care, the consideration. When the moon hits that opposition to Mars, there's an acceptance, there's knowledge, and for some people, there will be judgment based off of how the transits are going to continue. We can be making the elder aware. Hey, just so you know, we went to the bank. We made all these changes. You're going to see some stuff in the mail. We're going to start bringing you your stuff tomorrow. We're going to start doing this differently tomorrow. We're going to sit Susie down, Grandpa, and let her know starting now, the account, the card, whatever she had, it's not going to be there anymore. We're going to be taking the ease away. For a lot of people, this feels like this change of power of attorney. Whoever's been in charge of Grandpa's account's not going to be in charge anymore, that type of thing. Yeah, okay, moving along. Now, the moon's opposition to Venus and Saturn felt the most exact between 2:30 and 6:30 p.m. on Friday, at least Central Standard Time. So the tone, the mood, the verbiage shift and change, the awareness of roles, responsibilities, the process and the procedure, very deeply ingrained of what's going on because a process of something has changed or is in the midst of change right here. Sorry, I had a hiccup. Okay. After that, whenever it comes to Friday, there's no more direct transits. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into Saturday. And our first transit is going to happen early in the morning between 7 and 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And that is whenever the moon, 22 degrees, 57 minutes, is going to go through a trine from Uranus. You can see Uranus right here, 23 degrees, 19. So we're just before the actual trine goes through. Again, whenever Uranus is involved, there can be technology things, there can be unexpected things, there can be something exciting. This one kind of has like an unexpected but exciting vibration, maybe not having to do with anything else that has gone on throughout the week, but like you get an exciting message first thing in the morning or an unexpected message first thing in the morning whenever you get up, like you're drinking your coffee and then ding, text message. Oh, hadn't heard from them in a while. Hey, you want to get together? Hey, can you have a conversation? Hey, can you have coffee? You want to have brunch or something like that? if you are the person that is in the process of taking responsibility of something away from someone else, they could be getting the unexpected message of like, hey, we met with grandpa this week. Do you have time to talk? And it's Susie reading her phone. Like, the hell's that supposed to mean? Because she doesn't know what's coming. There will be some people that are blindsided by how some of the effects of this week are going to go. Okay, moving this along. Between 4 and 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, the moon is going to hit an opposition to Neptune. So get this to 4:30. Yeah, 4:30 is fine. So here we go. I got the moon, 27 degrees, 28 minutes. Here's the opposition to Neptune at 27 degrees, 37 minutes. And again, the shift that's going on, the new order, the new role, that new responsibility as to what's being addressed, some people will be blindsided. Neptune has had a very heavy hand in this week. When the moon hits that opposition to Neptune, we can be addressing the effects of something. We can be addressing our beliefs about something. For other people, we will be addressing the lies, the fraud, the deception. We know you did something. We know you were doing something. We believe this is what's been going on. And you have to try to decipher the acts and the actions. Now, as we progress, I'm going to bump the screen just a few more hours to 7:30, but all of this kind of feels connected. So what I start to explain next, the most exact is going to be felt between 4 p.m. Central Standard Time and 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So Saturday's got a lot of things going on with it. So Mercury, I'm sorry, I didn't even go up with Mercury yet. Venus is going to hit that conjunction to Saturn. Now, this is felt the most exact between 7:15 and 7:40 p.m. So we have it exact on the screen. Here's Saturn. Here's Mercury. I keep wanting to grab Mercury for some reason. I'm so sorry. Here's Saturn. Here's Venus. You can see their conjunction, 16 degrees, 15 minutes, or 5 minutes. Simultaneously, the moon is going to hit this sextile to the sun, while also hitting that conjunction to the south node. Now, even in the month ahead forecast, whenever I was talking about this particular transit, the Venus Saturn transit, this felt like judgment. This felt like a ruling. This felt like a final decision about a new process and release. Now, given that this is the very first conjunction to the moon, with the moon and south node, now that the south node is in Mercury sign, there's the Mercury part, by the way, there can be impacts to people's physical health. Now, Mercury rules anything on your body in duality, your intestinal health, your digestive health, all the way through the system. Venus has rulership of the lungs, the eyes, your mouth, anything that brings you pleasure, your kidneys. I've said that before. Saturn is your spine. Like, he's quite literally the backbone of the universe. He is your bones. He's your knees, like solid support, the things that keep you going, that keep you moving, that keep things rolling. To function and be a structured person, you need good Saturn vibration. There's an acceptance of a structure, of a role, of a responsibility. But then there's also, given the moon's conjunction to the south node, a release, a letting go, a dismissal. Something is shifting in the process. This decision in the long run will have a bigger effect, given the fact that, again, this is the first conjunction of Venus and Saturn. And no, Venus is not in shadow yet, but that does not matter. We are making decisions this week that are going to directly impact the spring. There will be events in the real world that directly impact the rest of spring based off just Venus and Saturn. Knowing that the first eclipse that we're going to have is also going to be in Virgo, that adds one extra layer. Now I'm going to look at the sun for a minute. The moon is making a trine to the sun. The sun is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. That is the end of a sign. Something is coming to a close. Something is coming to an end. Responsibilities are going to shift. The work that's been getting done behind the scenes, the process, that level of structure is going to adjust because the sun is going to change signs. So there is an adjustment in a multitude of ways that's coming through right here. And the meeting, the acceptance for some people is going to result in a loss, an outgrowing, a purge, a release, but it is a logical decision to release, regardless of how the emotions were earlier in this week. Can there still be temper tantrums? Absolutely. Can there still be frustrations? Absolutely. But in this moment, I don't full on feel the emotion, just to be clear. Okay. Now, this takes up a lot of Saturday. So for a lot of people, this is going to have to do with this stuff in your personal life. If these transits are hitting your angular houses, so my mutable rising sign, so if you're Pisces rising, Gemini rising, Virgo, or Sag, some of this vibration might carry into the new week in regards to like family stuff or work stuff, depending on how this is landing for you. But you're going to feel this vibration for sure. For some people, it's going to be accepting responsibility. For other people, it is going to be a release of certain responsibilities. For some people, even a release of certain fears. Okay. At 9:33 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I'm going to bump the screen up to 10:30, the moon is going to go into Libra. The moon is going to go into Venus's sign immediately following a Venus-Saturn conjunction. What does Libra rule in your chart? What does it rule? Because it's going to start showing you something. It's going to start showing you a vibrational shift. It is going to start showing you the potential of something new and something different over the course of the next few days, because the moon is now in Venus's sign. And this will be the first time we've had the moon in Libra in a year and a half without the south node there. What has changed for you? Libra risings, what has changed for you? Oh, up until this point, you can be very, very blindsided about what some of that stuff is going to be. Okay, now we're going to get into Sunday. So we're going to bump this over. And the first transits that are going to happen right after midnight. So the first things first, between midnight and 2 a.m., the moon in Libra is going to go through a trine with Pluto. You can see that here. In addition to... Right. In addition to that, we also have Mercury, because I kept wanting to harp on Mercury a minute ago. Mercury is going to go through its exact sextile to Saturn. So you can actually see that here also. Here's Mercury in Saturn sign, hitting the sextile to Saturn in Pisces, while the moon is going to be making that trine to Pluto. This is what's going to be fair for everyone to be able to allow for something to change, to transform, to level up, to get to a new vibration, to overcome past situations. This is what's going to be best for everyone. This is what's going to be fair for everyone. This is where we're going to have the most release. Mercury hitting that sextile to Saturn, adding his extra layer in the vibration, is giving more layers, it's getting more knowledge, it's giving more information about what's gone on with the elder, from the elder's perspective, from past perspectives, regarding the authority figure, what the authority figure needs, around responsibility, around these levels of topics. When we get into the actual morning time, between 10:15 and 11:01 a.m., so I'm going to bump this to 10:30, Mercury again is going to hit the actual sextile to Venus. So you can see Mercury 16 degrees 41 minutes. Here is Venus 16 degrees 41 minutes of Pisces. There again speaks to more decisions, more information, more guidance, more verbiage, more conversations about what's the right tone from here, what's the right path from here, what's the right process from here, because we are in the start of turning a process around, of making certain adjustments in the vibration. Now, whenever the moon is going through Libra, it tends to be a lot more vocal because it is an air sign. But the whole idea of Venus going through her exaltation is she wants things to be easy and simple and fun and hopeful and helpful for everyone. So the conversation that is being had here is like, this is what it's going to take to be fair and still easy and still hopeful and still helpful. Something has to end while another thing starts to begin. We're transitioning the process. Okay. At 2:01 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I'm going to bump the screen to 2:30, the sun is going to go into Aquarius. So here we go. Here's the sun, 0 degrees, 1 minute. And now we are at the start of Aquarius season. We are going into fixed, slow, yes, stubborn types of vibration, given the fact that the sun is now in Aquarius. We're going into long-term vibration now that the sun is in Aquarius. Now, as soon as the sun goes into Aquarius, it's also starting to build for its conjunction to Pluto. This is not exact on Sunday. It's going into next week. But there's a lot of things about the last week that has led into something being seen and recognized differently. And as soon as the sun goes into Aquarius, we can also be even more aware of something that has changed, the necessity of change, how far we've come in the last year, and what we're willing to dedicate ourselves to moving forward. Now, there's one other transit to the day. It happens later in the evening between 8 and 10 p.m. So I got this at 8:30. Jupiter, 11 degrees and 40 minutes, is going to go through an exact trine to the moon, 11 degrees, 22 minutes. So we're about 30 minutes off from the exact right here. Jupiter is going to go through a trine with the moon. Now, think of it this way. Jupiter is hosting Venus. The moon is being hosted by Venus. So this speaks to the additional layers, the conversations, again, about how to make something fair, how to make something more reliable, how we can do something moving forward, what we previously did, because Jupiter is retrograde, and what steps we can take to turn something around, how we adjust the process, how we can adjust the procedure, shifts in our routine, how to make things easier, and how to not let things be so bothersome anymore compared to what they were before. And given the fact that now the sun is at 0 degrees of something, we are looking to set something up that is going to last for the long term. Are we setting things up immediately? No. We're gathering our thoughts. We're gathering ideas. We've made some adjustments based off of the need for an immediate emotional reaction, but we haven't made all the adjustments. Things are in process, and you will see that vibration of being in process for quite a while. So be prepared for a process as we go into the rest of the month. Okay. Now, the first part of the week feels very different from the end of the week. The end of the week feels like it is a direct response to what came through at the beginning, what came through during the full moon in Cancer, What came through during Mars's trine to Neptune? What came through during the Sun-Mars opposition? There's a part of what we need to see, focus on, react to that we previously were not thinking we were going to have to react to, that we were not thinking we were going to have to deal with, that we did not think that we were going to have to address. And I want people again to expect the unexpected whenever it comes to the parts of this week. There will be things that come through that once they hit, they're going to hit harder than what was initially anticipated. And that's not going to be easy for everyone to understand, for everyone to deal with. There is a transition still in the vibration. And whenever it comes to Mars being retrograde in Cancer, it is going to disrupt families. It is going to disrupt things with mothers and children. It is going to disrupt homes and home life. But some of that disruption was not immediate upon Mars's re-entry into Cancer. And I didn't think that it was going to be. It's whenever certain things became highlighted. The full moon in Cancer is going to highlight something. The sun's opposition to Mars is going to highlight something that we weren't seeing before, we weren't aware of before, we weren't familiar with before. But that does not mean that it's going to be bad for everyone. For some people, it's going to be a necessary change, a necessary disruption within the family, within the home life. For other people, the emotional response and reaction and the multitude of things that will follow are going to be immeasurable, because we can't fathom quite yet what that is. For some people, the effect will be a little more distant. It won't happen to you immediately. It's going to happen in your peripheral. It's going to happen in your surroundings. And you're going to be a support person throughout a situation that you had no hand in. Congratulations. Welcome to my life. For other people, past situations are going to come back to light, and they are going to instigate the change in process, the change in certain decisions, the change in certain outcomes. Because again, you try to bury the past. And the thing about the past is it always finds a way of coming back up. You might be able to bury something for a little while, tell that version of a story for a little while, but it does not mean that you can say it forever, that that's going to be the case forever. And there will be some things this week about past situations coming back to light, coming back to the surface, that are going to be detrimental to their lives. Everyone's in different places here. Everyone's going to be at different focuses. And I know that. If you were the support person, great. Be that support person. If this is hitting you in a harder way than anticipated, I understand. But expect the unexpected, expect emotional disruption, expect lies and fraud and deception to come back around. And whenever it comes back this time, expect the truth to be seen far faster than what it was before. There is disruption to this week that directly impacts the entire rest of the spring. And a lot of that is spoken based off of Mars's placement, yes, but especially through Venus and Saturn. It will not feel like a big week in the moment. For some it will, but for a lot of people it won't. But what follows, that ripple effect, the things that it leads to, those will be bigger as we go into the springtime. So be aware of the decisions that you are making, because they speak volumes as to what's going to come later, especially whenever it comes to Venus and Saturn. But whatever that decision is, also feels like it's an effect that comes off of that Mars Sun opposition and that full moon in Cancer conjunct that Mars. There is a ripple effect in the waves. Okay. Okay. Sorry about the coughing. It's just allergies. I'm not sick, but I always have allergy issues. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Hit me up with questions, hit me up with concerns. Again, we're 2 weeks away from me going to the Reed Conference Center for that spirit fair. If you have local spirit fairs that you want me to look into, I'm open to just about anything. So send me the info, either DM it to me or email it to me, whatever's going to work best for you. But that's going to be a big part of what I'm going to be doing in 2025, is going out to these events to start meeting more and more of you guys in person. So I love and appreciate every single one of you. I will talk to everybody very, very soon. Subscribe.